Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Hello, and we say a good day to each and every one of you this moment of your time. As the Pleiadian Council, it is a great pleasure and honor to meet you, and we thank you for allowing this transmission to occur in this way, as every time you come to meet us or beings like us from these other realms, there is a tremendous transference of light and energy that allows us all to grow together in our connection to Source. We speak on behalf of the Galactic Alliance and many other beings of love and service to the whole, who are very excited to support your planet through this process. We are excited to support you with your questions. And first, we will begin with a brief message, if you will allow us. And so, you are seeing yourselves now 4 months from the beginning of some massive changes in your world. And much of this confusion will continue for some time, though you as light workers have the opportunity, or perhaps you don't identify as a light worker, as a healer, as a conscious being, who, however you see yourself, on the leading edge, you have the opportunity to be a catalytic force that supports others in balance their energy and coming to a natural homeostasis. Now, you do not need things to get better in order to become better within yourself. And the massive changes occurring now are not always what you would prefer, yet they do allow you to understand how to make the best of what you have, to realize that, again, in order to thrive, it is as simple as meeting your needs, connecting with others, and expressing the truth of who you really are. Now, we understand that many of you can interpret the events through many lenses. And as we have said before, there are forces in your world that are not serving a higher good, that are manipulating events, manipulating information, and manipulating consciousness in general. Though, again, what we emphasize is that you are innately powerful, that you are having within you all of the power of Source. And if somebody makes you feel as if you don't have that power to change, to have an impact, to be healthy and well, to live in a beautiful and joyful way, despite what is occurring, they are deceiving you. When you find the beauty in the world around you, and you open up into a great wonder and joy and awe even, you can take in Source energy from everything you are experiencing. When you meet the occurrences in your life with shock, dismay, sadness, grief, you contract and you don't allow yourself to take in the fullness of what is before you. So again, there are many different ideas and experiences you may have opinions about, and there are many different ideas about what potential future could be coming to you. And we can speak to that if it really interests you. Though we encourage you more than anything to live right now. because you may have ideas that there is this certain plan or that plan, but until it becomes your present moment reality, for you to feed it fear-based energies, you only sabotage your own ability to use this moment for a positive experience and expression. Remember, your power is in your ability to change yourself. Your power is in your ability to meet challenging circumstances with equanimity. And your power is in your ability to see two contradictory viewpoints and find the middle ground between them. See what is true about one perspective while seeing what is true about the other. Knowing that your emotional reaction to any situation is what determines whether you use it to thrive or whether it brings your energy into a lower fear-based contracted state. So again, more than anything, strengthen your connection with each other and strengthen your connection with your body and with your earth now. Because as you do so, you allow yourself to grow. You allow yourself to restore your natural remembrance that you are a part of the earth, that you are not separate from it, that you are not some being walking upon some strange planet, that you are actually part of the living fabric of earth itself. And as you change your consciousness, the earth in turn changes her or its or their consciousness. So you are creating the shift that you want to see. And you are creating it by whether you choose a empowered stance or a stance that masks and disguises your power and, as you say, gives it away to someone or something outside of you. This is our message, and in a sense, it is nothing new. Perhaps we have said it in some different words. So we hope you understand, and we hope that we can now support you with any questions or dialogues or sharings or ideas you wish to reflect with us.
So thank you for sharing this. I actually have a question.
Yes.
So I have the feeling my whole life that I was already having this sense of oneness and this sense of my vision to come
Yes.
here to this earth for serving and for experiencing all life. And my question is, what is the reason that for some souls it takes much more time or much more experience than for others to remember their true essence? Is there any reason of like particular soul energy or where the souls are coming from? Or sometimes I have the feeling that I already remember so much that so many people are not remembering around me.
Yes. Much of this is what you would call a soul agreement. So before a soul incarnates into a body, a soul will choose the parents and the birth circumstance and also the very specific combination of the sperm, the egg that comes together, making a unique being. It is all chosen at a soul level. And souls have a specific intention in choosing this. It is part of both their own individual growth process and part of a collective growth process. As a soul goes through the incarnated experience, the soul can, again, choose to transform in many ways. There are experiences like walk-in souls or soul braids, in which another aspect of consciousness enters into the human body, and that human undergoes a profound transformation. For some, this is the experience that serves them most. There is also the human level of choice. And many souls take longer to awaken simply out of the human choice, simply out of the fear they have accepted that prevents them from seeing that they have options. Because again, what fear does is it sort of pigeonholes you. It hides some of the potential choices that you have. And so many are not awakening because they are choosing not to. And one of the most powerful things you can do for souls who are not yet awake is to give them the ability to see that they have choices. And once they see that the experience of limitation and disconnection is a choice, and there is also a counter choice, an opposite choice of love and connection and empowerment, it may give them the opportunity to change and grow.
Thank you. That makes a lot of clear.
Yes. And so
I
if
have a
any,
question.
all right, yes.
Yes. In terms of fear and voices in the mind, I'm a little confused about how to best address my voices in the mind. I can just say, I don't believe you, or I can say, and then there's a part of me that's wondering about this concept of embracing your fear. And I don't know that just, there could be another level of judgment when I hear fearful voices or I feel fear. There can be that layer that's saying, like, I shouldn't be afraid. And so if I were to embrace my fear and look at it, maybe that would be more advantageous rather than just, saying, that's
Yes.
BS. So what might you have to say about that?
It is somehow the middle ground between these two ideas you're expressing. For yes, you must embrace your fear, though what you are really working towards, as you say, embrace your fear, is to embrace the thinker, the experiencer who is experiencing the fear. So in order to fully embrace yourself as the experiencer of the fear, you must acknowledge that the fear is there. Though your embrace of the fear must not be one that makes you believe what the fear is saying. So it is true that, again, you must say, okay, yes, the fear is BS. But the way that I am feeling is not BS. The way that I am feeling is important and is valid. So then you bring yourself into the feeling state and bring yourself deep into the experience of the emotion of contraction and ask perhaps, what am I believing to be true about myself or about my experience to be true that would cause me to feel this way? And you may get many different thoughts, such as, I am powerless to change. The world is against me. I am not capable of this. And then you may ask yourself, well, what is the opposite of that limited, contracted thought? It could be, I am capable. It could be, I have the power to have a healthy, connected experience. It could be that I am a being of love, and I know love is more powerful than fear. And when you find the opposite thought of the one that is on a loop in your mind, focus on that thought and look for evidence of it. allow your focus to remain in it and continue to breathe through that sensation of fear until you feel yourself liberate from it. And sometimes, actually, the very best thing to do is to do what you feel compelled to do despite the fear. Because if you are going to feel afraid anyway, you might as well feel afraid and do the thing that lights up to you than sit in the fear and try to figure it out. Much of the time, once you get the engine revving, the fear fades away.
Yes. Thank you so much. That's helpful.
Oh, yes, our thanks to you as well.
Hey, Pleiadians, Christina here.
Hello, yes.
So I had in mind the walk-ins and the wanderer souls.
Dolphins.
No, walk-ins
Oh,
souls
walk-ins, yes.
and wanderers souls, and you replied a little bit to Dega about them. So I have like a question: can the walk-in souls or the wanderer souls, influence your truth testing? How can they be removed? Can they be removed if you want, or it's about divine timing, only when it's time to be removed?
Well, a
And for
walk-in
example,
soul is
yeah,
very different than what you would describe as an entity. It is not something that attaches to you. It is a personal transformation where, again, you as a soul are part of an oversoul, but there are many other aspects to that oversoul, or soul aspects, other souls. A walk-in soul is then when this soul goes back to the bigger soul you are part of, and a new soul comes into your body. And so you cannot remove the walk-in soul because the walk-in soul is you. There are, of
okay,
course, unique experiences in which a walk-in soul is a distinct personality from another lifetime that joins the present incarnate soul, and the two share a body for a period of time. Yet these experiences are exceedingly rare. It does happen, though.
so everyone has an walking soul, right?
No, not everybody.
Or not everybody. Okay.
If you are asking if it is
And the
something that
one
you are experiencing, no.
I did truth tested, and in the truth testing I got a yes. I don't know
You,
why. Maybe something
it may be that your
you
own
do that.
belief systems about it were not in alignment when you did the test. So you might want to take a moment to come back to center and try again. It could be
Okay.
indicating that there is something else occurring for you that you believed was a walk-in soul.
Yeah. And about the wanderer
Oh,
souls,
yes.
they're
Yes.
like the same, or that's kind of difference between?
Well, a wanderer soul is more of a certain archetype that a soul carries. And a wanderer soul would be one who is very distinct from those who are presently incarnate now. A wanderer soul may make many connections with far removed extraterrestrial groups or sort of mystics that are not really in physical reality for the same reasons other people may be here. There is a uniqueness to them. There is a sort of adventuring spirit that brings them to incarnate into very challenging circumstances for the purpose of individuating and experiencing a unique journey to tell a unique story.
Okay. Another confusion I have, it's about the, I don't know how to name it, the false light, like the
Oh, slide.
false
All right.
source, or the four false angels, which it's not like the true source. Can you, I don't know, put a light on it a little bit? How can we feel, you know, it's the truth source, not like a trickster or a false light, or, you
All
know,
right. Yes.
how can you experience the false or the truth one?
Yes. A false sort of being will be one that serves selfish agendas. And when you ask beings directly, are you of service to others? You ought to hear or feel or experience in some way a very clear response. If the answer is anything other than yes, you may know that you've encountered some sort of a deceiving energy. So that is the way to spot it in these astral realms. Simply ask, because again, as long as you are perceiving things clearly, none of these spirits can lie to you. They can attempt to deceive you, but it is again only your own negative belief systems that would fall for their traps of deception. And when you ask very clear and direct questions, they must share the honest truth. As for humans working in false light paradigms, well, this is, in a sense, sometimes trickier to spot. There are many different themes of false light, and it generally comes back to an idea that one person or some group of people are higher or more connected because of their beliefs or behaviors than another group of people. And without saying this directly, there are many spiritual teachers or even channelers who give across this message that you are the chosen ones, the select few, those who are clearer in your connection to source. And so you can spot this false light more clearly when you feel a sort of aggrandized ego, when there is this special feeling you get that is not something that connects you to the whole, but rather makes you feel like a unique and exclusive part of it. Well, not unique is good, but yes, exclusive, extra unique, beyond the uniqueness that everyone has in their own right. So exceedingly good that you surpass those around you.
Makes sense. Okay. Um, Wondering if I can put a personal question or I can wait. Maybe others have kind of other questions.
All right, yes, we can connect with you again later.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Hello,
I
yes.
do have it is a personal question. So
Yes.
Christina, if you want to go right after me, I guess. So I
Okay.
found it interesting that you brought up walk-ins because I hadn't heard of this before, and I'm happy to know there's a term for it
Yes.
because I experience this a lot. And on top of that, I have an actual alter system from the trauma that I experienced when I was younger. And so what my questions are about are basically, how do I remain centered? How do I know? Another issue I have is being in the present in general, like in my present moment, because I bilocate all the time. I'm in different lifetimes often. I'm in different timelines often, and I'm having to deal with processing these alters internally and from this lifetime as well. And it's
Yes.
causing me a lot of confusion. A lot of those alters are holding on to a lot of fear, and then I feel that adds to me having a sort of overall like stagnating depressive energy going on. And basically, I just would like to know what are some pointers or tips or advice on how I can center myself and be present and still work with these things.
Yes.
Because it's a lot. It's a lot.
We have some tools we can suggest. The first
Yeah.
thing, though, is to stabilize yourself in the moment and bring yourself fully into your own present experience, so that as you go through these tools, you can keep a clear distinction, a boundary between you and this alter self. So bringing yourself fully into this moment has very much to do with experiencing the sensate world around you and
Yeah.
coming to enjoy it and slow down, taking
Mhm.
some moments to breathe slowly before you eat, and ask yourself a question, perhaps. Is this real? Is this
Yeah.
actually happening?
Yeah.
Because the question itself will bring you to start to notice at a conscious and subconscious level that everything you're experiencing is real, is experiential, but is also, as you know, a projection of your soul. So continue to ask yourself this question while you bring your awareness into physical reality. Perhaps you, if you can, take baths or go to saunas or something of this nature to really feel your body here. Perhaps you do some simple exercises throughout the day, and notice whenever you feel your heart fluttering in an uncomfortable way or anxiety starting to build, that you take some deep breaths and let out some sounds until you can come back to a centered space. And creating this foundation will help you very much to be here and make sure that these altars do not possess you at various times.
Yeah.
And then when you
Yeah,
are
because that has been an issue. Yeah.
yes. And then you may want to do a practice of coming to meet them individually. So going
Yes.
into this,
I've done that a bit. Go on, sorry.
yes, go into these altered states where you can meet them, and make sure you meet them with an energy of love, compassion, accepting, understanding, and understand that they only possess you or hop in because they are seeking to meet needs that are yet unfulfilled. And if,
Okay. May I ask a specific question about
yes,
one of them? Okay, because one of them is what's called like an introject, which means it's basically like a copy of an abuser that gets put within the altar system to keep
yes,
the abuse going internalized within the system. And I have a lot of issues with that because it's very hard for me to meet that with compassion. It's like, I want to just tell you, like the last conversation I had with that particular altar was me being like, you didn't originate in my brain, like, please leave, you don't belong here. But actually it's not an entity, it is actually an altar. So like, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So you may not want to start working with that one right off the bat. There may be others that are easier for you to have compassion for, to meet, so that you can integrate with them and be, in a sense, more whole to face this harder, more complex altar.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yes. So again, as you meet them, ask them, what do they need? And allow them to tell you and show you. And perhaps some of them have very extraordinary needs that don't seem very healthy, but allow them to have it. Play it out in the fantasy realm so that you
Okay.
don't have to allow them to hop inside of you, and play it out in the physical realm.
I have another specific question about that. So like in terms of particular types of, you know, even fantasies that some altars might have that stem again from like trauma and stuff,
Yes.
that other parts of me may not feel comfortable like subjugating myself to that, like kind of what you were just talking about.
Yes.
How I mean, is it a case by case basis of what is healthy to allow in the physical to be played out and what is not? And it obviously, you know, I'll be able to know what's appropriate or not, or is it more just like, I don't know. Are there any, I don't know what I'm asking, I guess.
Yes. Anything that harms you or your
Mhm,
body or harms
mhm.
others is not appropriate to play out in the physical realm. Anything else is appropriate. Perhaps it involves extreme displays or extreme experiences, and that is all
Mhm.
right, as long as there's no harm involved.
Okay, and if we're talking, sorry to be like graphic, but if we're talking about like sexual scenarios with a partner,
Yes.
what does harm entail?
If it leaves damage to your body,
Mm-hmm.
then it would not be so well.
Right,
If it leaves scarification, no.
right, of course. I guess I'm trying to just find the lines of like, if any of that, if I can allow them any of that in the physical. Obviously, not in the
Yes.
extreme versions of it, but
Well,
like
when you
tamer ones.
play out this process and allow them to release that pent-up energy and merge with them,
Mm-hmm.
and you still have the desire, then it is an okay desire to explore. This
I
idea of
see what you mean.
BDSM in your world is actually totally healthy. It may be a bit taboo, especially in some of these spiritual fields, but it is all right.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that extreme for me personally. I'm sure there's parts of me that it is, but I don't think that that would integrate into me. But there's lesser stuff that I feel like I could be okay with. So that was
Yes.
that was my question.
All
All
right.
right, cool. Thank you.
So yes, let us continue. The process would then be to allow them to meet their needs, play it out in fantasy, and even if they are extreme and difficult fantasies to endure, simply allow it. And as you do this, also invite in some guides of the light
Yeah.
who can witness and can hold space for you as you negotiate with this altar. And
Mm-hmm.
as the needs play out, there may be some releases of emotion that you experience and you witness in the altar as well. And
Mm-hmm.
you can finally get to a point in which you have, in a sense, exhausted the altar. All of their needs are fulfilled, and they have sort of gotten what they needed completely. And you can
Mm-hmm.
ask them to merge with you,
Mm.
knowing that as you have released the negative energy, the pent up energy through this expression, this altar is, in a sense, a part of you
Mm-hmm.
that must reunite with you,
Yes.
inviting it to sort of merge into your body, merge into your field, and take the energy back. And again, as you do this, you may note that there is a greater shift in your being and in your body. It may feel harsh for the first day or so, though you may
Mm-hmm.
feel that you have more energy, that you are more empowered.
Yeah,
And
that's something I didn't think about before. That having these parts that aren't integrated actually is kind of like little energy leaks. I never thought
yes,
about that.
it is
Surprisingly.
fragmenting yourself into many different personalities.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's actually a question from Kevin. I will read it out loud now. Hello, could you please comment on the worker bee and director manager roles as they pertain to our society, especially in regards to worth?
One
Ultimately, I
moment.
know and own the fact that we are worthy just by our experience, but I feel this divide between workers and management.
I told you 20 minutes and you took 30. And I'm in the middle of a call and you're interrupting it. It's live on the internet.
Okay, again, I will read it again. So Kevin is asking, hello. Could you please comment on the worker bee and director manager roles as they pertain to our society, especially in regards to worth? Ultimately, I know and own the fact that we are worthy just by our existence, but I feel this divide between workers and management.
All right. Though, for one, would not the worker still be entitled to all of the fruits of the hive? Even if one is working under the supervision of somebody else, they are still part of the whole and therefore deserving equally. And this is what plays out in a sort of hive mentality. Though, of course, you as humans are not expressing yourselves in this way. And this metaphor is, in a way, something that has been adopted by many in unhealthy ways, where some attempt to control your world and others are simply the bystanders who are controlled. However, this is not a natural phenomena in the sense it is a construct. It is natural in the sense that it arises out of your unconscious animal instincts, yet it is something that now is undergoing a rewrite. So you must start to see yourself as beyond this animal perspective, yet including it. And again, know that the idea of some people managing others is one that will still have some significance, yet the manager cannot actually get the project done without those who are doing the work on the ground level. So there is an equal degree of importance. It is not that one is more important than the other. And if you find yourself serving somebody who is directing a bigger picture and they are not seeing you as just as vital as themselves to the well-being of the project, it may be wiser to remove yourself, take a step out.
Okay. I will read out the second question of him.
All right.
It's, with many families deciding to keep their children home this school year due to COVID-19, I feel there is a real opportunity to start my own business as a person of service to families who want and need some extra support around the house, especially helping young children with their schoolwork. Could you read into the energy of this potential service, work, business? Thank you. Much love, Kevin.
So again, the question is, can you read the last part again? We're sorry.
Yes. Could you read into the energy of this potential service, work, business?
The potential of
Of the service of work or business.
homeschooling?
Yes, so I read it again. I feel there is a real opportunity to start my own business as a person of service to families who want and need some extra support around the house, especially helping young children with their schoolwork.
All right.
Could you read into the energy of this potential service?
Yes. This is a wonderful way to take the burden off. Some who are not used to having to manage their child's learning. You can, in many senses, help people to gain a better insight into how to really support their children. And we don't have really that much to say, particularly other than that you will discover the way that the service manifests for you as you go about it. So simply listen to your intuition and know that there is genuinely a need here. In general, with the education of children in the future, as we have said before, when children are free to explore what uniquely excites them and they are given the choice to do everything they really want to do, and they are not forced to undergo some certain curriculum, their potential will unlock quicker, and they will find greater power in the process, and your world will transform, and people will discover their freedom in this way. So ways that you can allow for freedom to be experienced by both the parents and the children, for everyone to understand they have a choice and they do not have to do things that feel out of alignment to them. The more this project and projects of this nature will thrive.
Wonderful, thank you. So there's a question from Bianca, and she's asking, what are things highly sensitive beings can do to not let negativity that is not their own to affect them? Such as if walking into a store that has a lower vibration in it.
Well, believing in your power is key. Believing that you are stronger than the energy around you is key. Knowing that you are the generator of your own experience through your belief and through your own expression of energy. So if you really know this in a deep way, none of these energies can affect you. You, of course, may not like the experience of being with those fluorescent lights and with people who are in this sort of a heavy atmosphere. You don't have to like it. Yet, at the same time, you will be able to go about it without taking in their energy. So it starts by, again, coming into your own heart and feeling your heart deeply connected with Source. We like to encourage you always to imagine this clear pillar of energy that connects you down to the center of the earth and connects you up to the center of the universe and allows energy to flow into your body and fill you with light. Focus this energy in your heart and allow it to bring a smile across your face and fill your whole body with a great emanating field of light. The more you practice this, the more you can tune in, turn on this shimmering, brilliant energy through your whole body. Literally imagine every single one of your cells is radiating immense, great, and powerful light. And the more you do this, the more you can, again, instantly turn it on. Perhaps you turn it on with a smile. Perhaps you turn it on with a hand gesture or a mudra that uniquely comes to you once you have tapped into that energy. There are many different ways. Though, as you imagine your body pouring out light, you know that you are, again, generating your experience. You can walk through that store, maintaining that connection, smiling inwardly to yourself. Imagine the light pouring out from you. And in this way, every single experience can be one of joy, of flow, and ease. Now, as you continue to raise your frequency more and more, these experiences won't affect you as much. And you can still notice that perhaps you don't enjoy it as much. And after you come out, you may need to relieve some tension, shake it off. As long as you are able to proceed through your experience in a happy, flowing state, then everything is well and good. You do not need to be some master transmuter and be able to endure any negative experience and come out good to know that you are connected to Source. In fact, the more aware you become, the more likely you are to choose only those things that fill you with positive energy and let go experiences that do not fill you with light and hope and joy.
Thank you. I think that helped a lot.
All right. We hope so.
Hi. Thank you, Pleiadian Council. It's always amazing to hear you guys, and the insights is completely enjoyed.
Oh, our thanks to you as well.
Thank you. I would want to ask it's a very weird question, but I'll try
All
my
right.
best to do and explain it.
How weird.
One
That's
thing
exciting.
awesome. One thing that I've noticed when having conversations with multiple Eastern people coming from the East
All
is
right.
that our different languages have different definitions and descriptions, which leads
Yes.
to different feelings. And I was wondering, what would be a method to bridge this separation, to have a bit of a more clearer understanding about what is being said from the East, as it all kind of connects emotion-wise?
Well, the very best thing you could do would be to learn their language.
But would there be that would be the best.
Yes.
Definitely would be. Would there be a method of intercommunication without necessarily needing to go so deep to learn the
All right,
language?
yes. You can speak the language of the heart, can you not? You can feel with the other person everything they are feeling, yes?
Yes. Okay. That does bring maybe an interesting segue in the aspect of when it comes to having a relationship with another person, and let's say a romantic relationship, would there be aspects of keeping that relationship on the soul level, having an easier time remembering that we are the soul, so having this aspect of dual growth, cooperation growth?
Yes. That is very possible. That is ideal, is it not?
Yes.
And it happens when you, again, realize that the other soul is mirroring to you yourself. And that when you have a negative reaction to something that they have done, it is again a soul lesson in how you are perceiving through your belief systems the other individual. So much of the time, it is not actually the other person. Of course, sometimes people do things that are not so nice, yet you can use those experiences in a positive way by coming back into a neutral space, expressing your feelings in a clear way. And this process, again, of mutual mirroring allows for people to understand their patterns. When you understand so clearly that you are never really fully experiencing the other person, you are experiencing your version of them, your creation of them through your belief system. You can, again, clear out your belief systems. And if the person still does not suit you, then it may be wise to find a better relationship. Though much of the time, that clearing and sorting process does enough of the work to allow you to mirror each other in clearer, healthier ways and grow together.
That is awesome. And does it bring to this point where it becomes much easier to listen? I don't necessarily understand, or maybe it's a personal childhood thing that kind of led to that, yet I kind of notice it's tricky to fully kind of just allow and let in and fully listen to various conversations. But when it comes to relationship, it's extra important in that sense, or extra healthier.
Yes. Listening is key. And when you are really, really listening to somebody, it's important to affirm everything they have said and everything they are feeling. And simply, again, that process of saying again, I'm hearing that you're feeling this way, allows the other person to feel heard and seen. And only once the feeling has been recognized, then you can together look at what belief may be causing that feeling to arise. Because so often in your relationships, you don't validate what the other person is feeling first. Instead, you jump onto the fixing process, which is valid in its own right, but not until you have acknowledged and embraced what is being felt and processed in that moment.
Thank you. That is amazing balance. Thank you.
Oh, well, thanks to you as well.
So Denise, you wanted to ask a question? Or Christina, you want to ask your personal question?
Yeah, if Denise is not here.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Maybe she joins
So,
after.
yeah, Pleiadians, I just wanted a confirmation from your side. It's like your confirmation helps me to, have a confirmation for myself. So here I go. Last week I have been 2 days in contact with the person infected with COVID-19. Okay.
All right.
Someone confirmed that I have the virus. Okay, so I had like kind of mild symptoms, not kind of just, I had a little bit of throat. I had been dizzy, but I'm fine. And I did true tested that, and I got a no answer. But afterwards, I did a bypass truth testing, and I changed the question if I have like an updated RNA activating in my body, and I got a yes.
All right.
So maybe can you put some light clarification? I'm kind of a bit unclear what's going on at the moment with me.
It's quite likely that you do have it. It is also quite potential that you are going to be asymptomatic. So you don't have that much to concern yourself with in that sense until you are manifesting symptoms of the disease itself. We wouldn't really worry about it. In other words, simply make sure that you do not expose others to it.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that, about myself. I know. So you are confirming that's true. It's
Yes.
active at the moment in my body.
Yes.
So the feeling I have, the gut feeling I have, it's true about myself. Yeah.
Well, yes, we are saying it's quite likely. We cannot give you a definitive answer because, again, even something like this can change. You could, if you really wanted to, shift into a parallel reality where you don't have it, but listen to that feeling and get a test from the medical field if you are able.
And what's that upgrade RNA activating in my body means? What exactly that means?
What does that mean?
Yeah, like the person asked me to put this question when I did truth test myself, and I got a yes. The question that, not the affirmation that I have the update RNA activating in my body. So I think they're referring to the strain, the virus strain, I guess.
We aren't particularly sure.
Okay.
This could mean many different things. It could mean the RNA of the virus, or it could mean the RNA of your body, your biology. So you may want to ask specifically which thing you're tuning into.
Okay. Yeah, kind of, this is it. Only a confirmation needed from your side, your perspective.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thanks to you as well.
So Denise, are you there now? Okay, if not, I have a question, and it's about twin flames or special soul connections. So in the end, we are all connected. We are all souls that are connected to each other, but there are still souls in your life that you meet that are very special to you. And can you just talk or share a little bit about that?
Yes, there can be many things that are occurring. In some of the most brilliant of these connections, you are really meeting another part of your oversoul. So again, we describe your guides, your other lifetimes, and all of this as a part of your oversoul. It is another soul that is a part of this bigger framework of reality that you fit into. And so when you meet them, it feels like you're coming home to your family. Some other times when you meet a soul that seems very special to you, they're not a part of your oversoul, but there is a mental level of projection that is taking place in which you are, for some reason, perceiving in the other a quality that you desire, but do not see within yourself. And so whenever you believe that you are lacking in something, you will always find someone who possesses that thing that becomes your projection field. So this feeling can be one that is very special, but it is ultimately one that teaches you again how to find within yourself the light that you are seeking in the other outside of you.
Wonderful. So there's a question from Natalia, and she is asking, I have a very strange scar on the middle finger of my left hand, and it looks like cut off and glued back. No one in the family knows where this scar is coming from. I would like to know from where it is and what it symbolizes.
It is quite likely it is a birthmark or something that, again, comes in from another reality. So we wouldn't want to reveal everything here, but we will encourage you to practice a past life meditation where you can directly experience another one of your soul aspects from the past or even from the future, because there's a connection here to this image on your body.
Okay, there's another question from Caitlin. I am navigating through some very dense energies in my house, and so far, and for the first time in my life, has stopped me from feeling like I can effectively share my messages and help the world and my business. Would appreciate some healing, loving energy, and strength.
So when there is this sort of a conflict or disconnect, it is important first to allow yourself to feel connected to someone or something. Perhaps it is someone at a greater distance or your own guides, some way that you can allow yourself to relax and feel seen and nourish yourself so that you have the energy to feed back into those around you. And from there, we would really suggest a process of empathy where you literally imagine that you are the other people that you may be in conflict with or aren't really getting. And notice how you feel. Notice what need you are perceiving as you imagine yourself in their shoes. And this will help you then come to be able to negotiate things a bit better. And then, of course, the other person must be willing to change. Can you discuss with them ways that you can find a common ground, ways that you can meet each other, ways that you can serve each other and serve a mutual well-being of everyone together. And if you can do that, it will allow the situation itself to grow. If conflict still persists, again, much like we said earlier, with creating that field of glowing and vibrating energy within your own body, realizing that you do not need a stable environment to remember your connection to source. Strengthening your connection to source within yourself and within that situation will be the greatest thing to help you and bring balance. And then as you feel yourself filling with that glowing light, you can send it out to everyone around you. Imagine the light pouring from your heart and filling every person you may meet. This is what we would suggest for this situation.
Thank you for sharing.
Hi, can you hear me
Denise was
now?
saying- oh, okay, cool. I can hear you now, Denise, just saying. I
Oh,
was just going
good.
to say for you that we couldn't hear you, but yeah.
Yes.
Oh, great. Thank you, Pleiadian Council. Yesterday, I was in a car accident, a 5-car pileup that I didn't cause, but I was in. And I'm wondering a few things. I'm wondering if there was some purpose for me to be involved in this, and anything I could do to kind of reintegrate after this. And if the police officers that came up to me were contagious with COVID. Thank you.
All right. To answer the last question, no.
Oh, thank you.
So how are you feeling? Or are you all right in your body?
I think I feel all right in my body.
All right. Well, in a way,
So far.
these situations serve as soul challenges. But there is something valuable you can extract from the experience. So can you ask yourself now, what have I learned from this situation?
Well, what I noticed was there was an accident, a 3-car, and I was sandwiched in the middle. No, I was the last one, I think. I forget where I was actually, in January, and it really shocked me. And then when it happened this time, I guess I was a bit less shocked, maybe because the other one was milder. This one is a bit more severe, but still, I mean, my car is damaged. So I guess I was a bit less shocked this time. I don't know what I learned, but, I know that I didn't cause it, and I'm hoping I don't have whiplash. So far, I feel okay in my body. Sometimes these things take a while to show up, and now I have to deal with a smashed up car. So I'm not sure what the lesson or the challenge or the benefit was.
All right. Though, even though this time it was more severe than last time, your reaction, your response is milder, yes?
Yes, actually.
So now that you've experienced something more severe, you may not sense it just now, but there comes a resilience. There comes a sort of inner strength that puts things into bigger perspective. Because if things were just slightly worse, you might have been injured, but you're not. If things were just slightly worse, you might not be able to move and live in the same way, but so far you're fine. And sometimes you simply manifest these experiences because there's a background level of anxiety that seeks a way of releasing itself. And in the blur of fast-moving, intense events, when you come back to homeostasis, when you come back to a more balanced state, you don't have some of that same tension running in the background.
Oh, so this cleared some tension.
Yes.
Wow. And there was the purpose, kind of, that was part of the purpose, to just clear some tension, but I wish it happened in a different way, you know?
Yes, and that's part of the lesson as well, that when you seek ways of clearing the tension out of genuine love and self-care, and even put yourself through some more challenging circumstances, some things that you may not necessarily enjoy, like working out or writing, that are time-consuming, that are challenging, but serve a greater purpose. You know that in doing that, you set yourself up to face life with less challenge, less foreboding.
Oh, when I like work out or journal or something, that's better than, say, getting into an accident, you're saying?
Yes, exactly. You come to understand the purpose of those things that challenge you, that aren't necessarily instant gratification buttons. You know that as you do them, tension is released, is relieved, and you can prioritize doing them for their own sake. Because again, if the tension builds up, your higher self or higher mind will find a way for you to vent that tension, and it may not always be the way that you prefer.
But thankfully, I'm fine. I'm not
Yes.
injured, just a little shocked. And my
Yes.
car needs to be repaired, but that'll get paid for.
Yes.
So no real harm, just some inconvenience. But maybe if I had, you know, done the inconvenience of working out or journaling, it could have been done through a more creative way.
Yes. Precisely.
Is there anything I need to do to care for myself right now after having gone through this shock?
Take some nice long baths or go to a sauna or something of this nature. Perhaps take a little swim if you could. Sunbathe,
that would be-
relax.
Yes, yes. Okay, well, thank you for helping me understand. Are there any other lessons? Sounds like there was a clearing, but is there any other benefit from this?
That is the major benefit. There's other things that you may be able to extract with time.
Okay. Are there any other messages you have for me?
No, that is all today.
Thank you so much, Pleiadian Council.
Oh, our thanks to you as well.
Hey again.
Hello, yes.
Yes, so I have a general question about the akashic records, galactic records. So it says that first we need to free our family line. So after we are doing that, we can move on and to go to the second stage to liberate all beings. So, for example, can we clear ourselves the akashic records? How can we collapse the akashic records? How do we feel when we did clear all the akashic records? I mean, in the first stage, you know, the family line lineage. And how is the feeling when we moved on to the second stage?
All right. Well, we would first say that this instruction is just one way of seeing things. In general, you clear out much of your own baggage before you start to work for the collective, though that is not always the case. Sometimes the patterns that you hold individually fit perfectly into the bigger framework of the collective. So, how would it feel like? It feels as if patterns that have been running for some time stop. It feels as if you are freed from an incessant push into some certain addictive or destructive patterns, and there is no more negative pressure that causes fear in the background.
Okay, so can you clear the loop by just doing kind of energy work, or you have to recognize your lessons in order
Yes,
to
you need to
clear it?
recognize the lessons, and you need to make sure you change your beliefs and change your behavior so you don't run the same loops again and again.
So you're lying yourself if you just believe that if you're just working, energize your car, your body, just connect to the source and just without learning the lessons, they're not clearing themselves, right?
No, not really. You must again integrate the experience, and you must challenge the belief systems that uphold the negative emotional patterns. You must integrate a new belief that shows you that you are free and that karma or nothing of this nature can really bind you in the present moment. You have a choice in every moment to do something differently. And once you make that choice, the universe must provide to you a different result, a different outcome.
Okay. Okay. If you want to add something, which all we need to know about this, I don't have any questions.
Yes. The idea again with this ancestral clearing is that many of the same belief systems and behaviors are inherited directly from your genes. So even if you do not know your parents, but in the case you are adopted, you may still have some of them running. So you can come to meet your ancestors in visions and notice the different experiences that you share and come to end the loop. Basically understanding that you are a free being, that you are able to do whatever you want, and that there's no need to oblige yourself to any sort of pressure from the outside. When you come to experience yourself as source, you know you are innately worthy and deserving, and any belief otherwise is deceiving you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, a great thanks and love to you as well.
Thank you. So I have another question. And it's about being in service to others. And
Yes.
I'm in that subject for the last weeks a lot or the last year already, to set boundaries for myself and to really feel into my heart when and where I want to serve and where I want to put my energy into and where I feel that it just been sucking out of my system. And it's a process that I'm still in, and I feel that there's a fine line between being in service and being open and feeling the attraction to other person's mirrors of myself. And the feeling that I just need to set boundaries for myself and be more in my own space for being in my energy to live a life of ascension. And sometimes it's hard for me still to know in what moments I can serve and I can open my heart and help the other person, and in what moment it's maybe the best to listen to my heart that tells me like, oh, it's not feeling so good, it's just too much of the other's person energy, maybe I should go and set boundaries. So do you maybe have an advice for me again on that subject?
Yes. Whenever you are feeling guided intuitively in your heart to set boundaries, it is important to listen to that, because again, you can always revoke the boundaries, and sometimes you will not get a clear sense of what you are really capable of until you give yourself a chance to take a step back, coming into your own space. Now, when other people are, again, using you as their connection to source, and they are not following your example of how to be innately connected to source, many of these connections don't fully serve them. They don't serve them in the fullest and highest way. So you may do a lot to help people and inspire them, though you must inspire within them a deep sense that they are capable and that they are powerful and that they are connected. So the best guidance is then to show them the way to establish their own connection with Source rather than finding that connection through you. Because to do so may be tempting. It is what you call a codependent pattern to use other people or to allow yourself to be used by other people because it, in a way, makes you feel like as if you are doing something positive. But really, whenever you are feeling this sort of a drain on your energy, it's because something is occurring that is out of alignment. The ways that you help people that really serve everyone make you feel light and free and do not feel like an obligation in any way.
Thank you so much. To get more insight of how I can set boundaries in, I know it's all about being very honest in communication, showing verbal boundaries, but do you have some tips for me how I can even clearer set my boundaries and stay in that boundaries that I set?
You can, again, tap into your own channel of light and imagine creating a bubble around you. And make a clear image that you are sending light to this person, yet you are not allowing for that person to drain energy from you. Notice that if there are any cords, if there are any sort of hoses connecting you and the other person, and imagine simply cutting them away so that, again, this person is not sucking in your personal energy. Other ways that you can set these boundaries is with your body language. Of course, your clear verbal language is key, though sometimes holding your arms over your body, or crossing your body, or making yourself big, yet turning away from the person, makes it even more clear that you are taking your space in those moments.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question for a friend?
It depends.
Okay. I can ask the question and you can choose whether or not to answer it. Is that
Sure.
the appropriate
Yes.
way to move forward?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. A friend of mine, she is having to move out of her house in maybe 5 weeks. And she is, not sure if she should try to find another house to live in now, or if she should focus on moving out, maybe take a vacation and then try to find a house when she comes back, because the houses are kind of, flying off the shelves, so to speak, the houses to rent. And she's wondering if, there might be better opportunities later rather than now.
That may be the case. We would encourage, again, doing what one feels intuitively guided to. We cannot say what necessarily may or may not happen, though, again, listen to your intuition. There will be opportunities, whatever she decides. It's simply a matter of which opportunity serves the most. And if there is an opportunity that seems quite well right now, then it may be wise to simply hop on it.
I see. I will pass that on to her. Thank you so much, Pleiadian
Oh,
Council.
all right. Thanks to you as well.
Hi, I might have a question that piggybacks off what was said slightly earlier. It
All
is
right.
this sense, and I've seen it through multiple practices. I've even seen it through different, yet certain people with disability that seek heal, yet understanding the attract, create a kind of dependence from the other person who might only see you as the cable for that, instead of having connection to source directly. So in that understanding anymore, not
Josh?
to leave it being
We didn't really get that.
tendency,
Your connection is breaking up quite
maybe
badly.
introduction.
Okay. Josh, can you hear us? If not, okay, I will unmute him. I will mute him now. And maybe DCH, you can go before. You have a question, and after Josh, if you're in again, you can ask a question again. Let me try. One moment. Josh, okay, he is out. Okay, DCH. You want to ask a question? Okay, if not, anyone else has a question right now to ask?
Well,
Yes.
If there are no
I
other questions.
Well, okay. I'll try
Josh,
to resume this before.
okay, you there?
We can
Hello?
hear you now.
Sorry for that.
No problem,
Okay,
go for it.
I'll do it as fast and as simple as I can. Sorry for that. I've seen through multiple times faith healing, helping people get a direct connection with source. But as you've explained, it does create a sense of dependency on the other person, as they would only think this would be the only reason or only venture to have a connection with source. I was wondering, would there still be emphasis to get such abilities, or maybe a way to balance it out? Let's say if it's to help a person get a direct connection, but then explaining it to them how.
Yes, that is the wisest way of doing it. Some people, again, misuse that connection and, in a way, inflate their ego to make it seem as if they are the only ones connected. And they may still be able to do some healing, but it doesn't really get to the root of the issue. It simply creates another loop of seeking healing from outside. So the best healers of this nature affirm that all that they are doing is holding a space and helping the individual themselves establish that clear connection with source. It is, of course, helpful to learn this skill and to learn how to communicate this understanding thoroughly. And many people will first experience this sort of faith healing or being healed by another, and over time gradually come to discover that same gift within themselves.
That is awesome. Thank you.
Our thanks to you as well.
Hi there, Pleiadian Council.
Hello, yes.
So nice to connect with you. Thank you so much. I'm just feeling great and totally trusting. And I guess I'm just seeking to reach out to you to ask, like, we can literally fully trust now, right? Just fully be in love in every single moment of the day, ever.
Yes. If that is your experience, then why are you doubting it?
Yeah.
Because again, that is
Yeah.
the clearest experience to have. That is the clearest representation of being fully connected to source and knowing that you are source and form.
Yeah. Thank you.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Well, from your human perspective, what brings you to feel this free flowing and trusting all the time?
My connection to source.
All right.
Yeah. I suppose like how I'll reword it, that we are now capable of feeling this in every moment of now once we realize that we are only in the now.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Thank you so much. Love you.
Thanks to you as well. Our love to you as well. And I hope that everyone can get a grasp of that, that it is your natural state to always feel good. It is your natural state to always feel trust. It is your natural state to always feel love. And anything that deceives you out of that is the falsehood. There is nothing that is too good to be true. If it is too good, rather, it must be true. So always, always notice when you are feeling that elation, that joy, and ask yourself, could it get any better than this? Allow yourself to break through that veil of doubt that makes you think you need to put a cap on the good. That if there is a good, there must be a bad. You do go through cycles, of course, yet elation, joy, and ecstasy even are your most natural state, in fact.
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We
Oh,
know.
thanks to you as
Yeah.
well.
Thank
If there
you.
are no other questions from new participants, we may bring this to a close here.
So there are two more.
All right.
The first one I will ask, and then the CH you can go after. So there's one from Bianca again, and she asked it in the very beginning, and it is as follows. Not sure if this was already asked. Question: how come some people struggle with their own gender, but others feel so in tune with their assigned gender?
This is a sort of soul agreement that is made before incarnating. Yet your common culture does not really understand this experience, and so there is greater challenge. Because while these sorts of expressions of gendered behavior may be more common for one gender than the other, they are, in a sense, independent from your gender. So being very masculine, but in a female body, is an experience that adds diversity, just as much as being very feminine in a male body adds diversity and wonder to the human experience. And in a sense, it allows for many other humans to break out of their limited perceptions of everything always working a certain way, of every person sort of behaving the same way. And it allows people to see the great diversity that is there. And it gives the individuals that experience of expressing a very unique soul essence, a very unique gift into the world. And when you see this experience as a gift, it does allow you to courageously be fully who you are, and know that unfortunately your cultural conditioning at this time does create some judgment from many who buy into these negative and limited conditions. Yet your job is not to internalize their shock or their criticism, but to reflect it back to them and challenge them, and know that your unique embodiment adds to the great diversity and adds to the great wonder of the human experience, and brings humans to see themselves beyond the constructs of gender entirely. Because again, you as a soul do not experience gender. Only in incarnation does the soul take on a gender. At higher levels, all is one. It is only in these levels of form where there is this sort of a soul and that sort of a soul. And so when humans break out of these constructions of gender, and certain souls come forward to help them see beyond these constructs of gender, really it is a spiritual teaching to go beyond duality and polarity entirely into oneness. It is helping humanity to unite seeming opposites and understand that every seeming pair of opposites is one. Are we there?
So I don't know.
So I think it would be DCH's turn now, right?
Yes.
Hi.
Hello, yes.
Hey, hey, Pleiadians, hi. So like, I am wondering something.
We cannot hear you so well.
You muted yourself.
There we go.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Great. So lately I've been being more present, you know, just like getting out of my head and getting more present, basically, like in a really radical shift from how I have been doing it for a very long time. And I'm thinking like, it might be wise to not just like neglect my physical body's experience of that transition, out of like thinking all the time into being more now. I'm wondering if there are any like foods and or nutritional things that you might like think would be good for me in this experience right now as I'm switching out of from head to heart like way more.
Are you
It's like
drinking?
I was like really in my head for like a long time, like crazy.
Yes, yes. Are you drinking enough water?
I'm drinking a lot of water. I could probably drink more water.
Are you eating many whole foods, fresh fruits and vegetables?
Yeah, more or less.
Yes.
More than not.
All right.
And that.
Certain foods that can help you come more into the heart. One would be cacao, which is medicine for the heart. It expands your heart and makes many powerful endorphins and hormones flush through your body that expands your emotional experience. This is one such powerful tool. Other medicines we generally suggest for everyone would be moringa, maca, ashwagandha. You can use for some time gotu kola for balancing and nourishing your brain, ginkgo, and yes, these are all certain sorts of adaptogens and foods that almost anyone can benefit from, and we do encourage. If there are specific concerns, we could suggest something for that.
Well, I just want to make sure that I do not like shock my body too much when I start to like engage in my joy, which may or may not involve a lot of like jumping around and like being extraordinarily active.
Yes.
After being like sedentary for a long time.
Why would that shock your body?
I don't know. I guess I think it will.
All right.
Maybe it won't.
It will not. It'll actually exhilarate your body. It will make you feel quite powerful. It will make you feel certain waves of joy that fulfill you and motivate you. And if the recovery time of your body is something that concerns you, you may want to also take the cordyceps mushrooms. That is quite beneficial for that as well.
Okay. Yeah, I do kind of feel like I want to like gradually come into it and not just like all of a sudden just like hype up. But yeah, that's okay. Yeah, period.
There's nothing to be concerned about. Your joy, your passion is a natural state, and you will experience beauty if you allow it.
Sweet. Awesome. That mushroom idea really resonated with me, so I think I'm gonna try that.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yes, have trust. And know that as you come more into that natural state, you may experience a release of fear, and that is quite natural. You may notice that sometimes your body needs to shake that after you go through these powerful waves of energy, it is natural to simply shake and relieve your body. Taking deep and powerful breaths in and out will make sure that you maintain a harmonious state. Beyond everything else, breathing is what we encourage you to engage in as the most powerful and important practice, really.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Yes, so thanks to you as well.
I do like to just quickly ask one more thing.
All right.
You last week mentioned how detrimental white sugar is.
Yes.
And I am curious if the same rules apply to molasses.
It is slightly less toxic. Again, understand it is a bit processed. So it will not have all of the same components. There are some things within this molasses that help you process the sugar. Again, the best sweetener would be raw honey. If you do not use those bee products, you can use things like stevia, like coconut sugar as well. Even maple syrup. Maple syrup is quite a good one. But even from that, too much sugar will still cause some issues. It will not toxify you in the same way, but it will affect your body and your metabolism.
Cool. And how about like sugar cane, like the cane, right? It's like in cane form.
Oh, that is all right. That is quite all right. Okay. You mean the plant, though, not the raw.
Yeah, like the sticks that they put in mojitos. Yeah.
Yes. The chunks of cane sugar and the cane juice, that is quite nutritious, as long as it is not processed.
Okay. Coolio. Well, thank you very much.
That's our great thanks to you as well. All right. We will come to a close now. We do thank each and every one of you for participating in this way. It has been a grand pleasure for us to interact with you. And know that again, joy, pleasure, power, elation is your most natural state. And anything other than that means that there is some belief or some construct in the way. And when you embrace yourself fully and you acknowledge fear is present and that you embrace the truth that fear itself is an illusion, is a distortion, you can use the power of that elation to lift yourself up, to be free. And if you are experiencing that elation, that joy of your higher self, it is, in a sense, your duty to express it, to share it, to allow others to be lifted up with you into it. Because that energy is what is the fuel for your planet's ascension. So if you really want your planet to ascend, be joyful, be silly, be creative, be exploding with joy and awe, wonder. It will serve you very much. And every time you allow that joy to explode from you, beings like ourselves dance and celebrate with you, and we become much closer to your reality. And it is through that joy that you can meet us and know our union. So do celebrate these times. Do celebrate even though it may seem strange to those who are afraid. This joy, this celebration, will be the most powerful way to allow them to break free from whatever ruts they may limit themselves in. So with that, our great love and thanks to you, and we wish you then a very pleasant and powerful day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much as well.
Thank you, Dante. Thank you,
Super,
Pleiadian
thank you.
Council.
Yeah, very
Thank
well.
you, thank you, thank you. Love you.
Thank you so much.
That was so much fun.
That was awesome, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
My computer battery might die. I ran out of power and powered all of this one through my phone's Wi-Fi thing. If I disappear, that's why. And yeah, donations, just mentioning it now quickly, donations are really gratefully accepted and appreciated. The things on Facebook, so thank you for that. And yeah, how's everybody feeling?
So much
Fantastic.
lighter.
So much lighter, so good.
Yeah.
Oh, I like
Thank you.
lighter. Lighter is my favorite.
Right? Same.
Yeah.
The Pleiadians gave very much clarity to the questions I've asked, and I feel my solar plexus is feeling so much energy, and I'm so grateful that you gave me the chance to host, and it made a
Yeah.
lot of fun, and it gave me this feeling of organization and responsibility, and I feel a lot of courage, and I feel very pleased, and thank you.
Oh, thank you for hosting. You are
I
beautiful.
will do it again
Yay.
if you want.
I think you did
Awesome.
great. How do you guys like Daiga?
Yeah, you did great. Great, great.
Amazing. You guys didn't
I
hear
think
me
it looks like
get...
two different galaxies. Like Daiga's in the galaxy, Dante's in the galaxy. I think it
Yeah.
worked really well.
Yeah.
You guys are in your own galaxies too, right?
I'm going to sign off. Have a beautiful day, everyone.
Hi, Molly.
much
Hasta
love.
luego. Love you.
Have a
I
great
love
time
you.
and a great weekend.
You too.
Ciao, friends. You guys didn't hear me getting in a little kerfluffle in the middle of that, did you?
A little what?
Oh no, somebody was supposed to pick something up for me, and I told them at this certain time, and they were late, and like they were just kept knocking on the door in the middle of the session, and it really brought me out of the flow. Like I just got up quickly and gave it to them, but then I was like, whoa, my head was spinning because it's like a lot to go from channeling into physical reality and back.
Oh yes, can imagine.
But I'm glad it didn't disturb you guys. It only disturbed me. Cool.
Dante,
It's
you're
all good.
professional.
I love you
Yes.
all. Yeah. Okay, I'm ending the recording. Bye. Thanks for watching the YouTube video, but I'll stay